I know you guys are conversant with Ukraine-Russia war, but we have to bring updates to you so I can get to know how far the war is being fought, casualty that are like, accrued in the war, and who is like, having the upper hand. Do you get to remember propaganda? But when you go deep into the situation, you're going to realize that really Ukraine is a theater that the ones worst hit, that the ones hosting the war. Seriously. Right now, things that are getting so alright. They are saying that they're going to have to reduce the age of conscription so that people can come into the military to defend their land. And the Pope said something. Please, just hoist the white flag. Raise the white flag up. Let all these things end. So the Pope should just go to his own comment. They are going to fight to the end. And here we are. With me here to talk about this, I have a legal practitioner, political health commentator, join me to welcome Barrister Henry Wanzo. Barrister, welcome to International Forum. I appreciate your coming.
Good afternoon, listeners at home.
All right.
It's a pleasure to be here again.
All right. So very close to him, so another legal practitioner, Barrister Gabriel Higato, political affairs commentator, human rights activist. Barrister Gabriel, welcome to International Forum.
Thank you for having me, Wilson. Good afternoon, Nigerians.
And of course, I have a lecturer from UNIBEN, Faculty of Medical Sciences. College, thank you, college. Faculty, college, okay, college. College of Medical Sciences. And of course, political analyst, political affairs commentator, join me to welcome Honorable Frank Admego. Welcome to International Forum.
Thanks for having me.
All right. I'm going to start off with you, Barrister Henry Wanzo. I know you've been monitoring all this trend, but for Ukraine to say the age now for conscripting personnel into the military has been reduced to allow more intake to defend Ukraine. After all, their own kind of phrases like glory to Ukraine. To make the return to Ukraine, they have to conscript people that are like, lesser than the originally agreed age. Do you think that all is well with the country? That's what the propaganda is saying, that they're doing well, they're capturing towns, that they're capturing villages and all that. Take it up from there.
You see, the truth still remains that initially when the war started in February 2022, there was a lot of enthusiasm among the youths, among the Ukrainians generally, and a lot of persons came out en masse to be recruited into the military. But as time goes on, you find out that you have a lot of persons who are dead now, a lot of persons are losing interest, and so many are wounded, and the war is still raging 2 years after. And Zelensky has equally looked at it that the number of persons needed to prosecute this war are depleting every day. In December, he made us understand that he needs a minimum of 500,000 as it were. And remember that in May precisely 2023, the legislature has already approved this idea of reducing the age to 25. But he has to sign the bill and then move on from there. So I see that it is a challenge because the number of persons needed to prosecute this war is gradually depleting. Interest too, and that zeal, enthusiasm that was shown initially by the Ukrainians is no longer there. You find out that again that they need to force some of them, even in the streets. You saw the viral video that came on board, and people were being forced to be recruited. And again, not only that law that he has to sign into bill, he also signed into bill the law that those who were given a kind of exemption based on their health condition, that are equally asked that they need to be re-examined again to find out if actually that exemption that was given to them based on the health grant, whether it will still stand or for them to be recruited. So I see it from the angle that because they are losing a lot of men and interests are no longer there, coupled with the fact that you find out corruption has equally crept in because some of the regional chiefs are collecting bribes to give a kind of exemption to those who would have won. And you also remember that he has to fire some of the regional chiefs because when he discovered the corruption. So generally, it's because the number of men who are to prosecute the war are no longer there. So he needed more hands to enable him wage the war as it were. And also remember that US originally who are supporting, but the Republicans who are in the House have failed to approve the funds needed for them to work. And Kiev, of recent, has been has faced shortage of ammunition. So all these are the challenges that are being faced that requires this bill to enable them have more hands to prosecute the war, as it were.
Barrister Gabriel Higato,
Yes.
really said enthusiasm has dropped. It's like it's dipping every day. Hence, reason the conscription age of fighters to come answer the call of Mother Ukraine.
Well, over time, I've always speak in support of the Ukrainians. It's unfortunate that we are at this junction. The Ukrainians have begun to fight war that they do not master. The decree or the laws that were made by the legislature to reduce the age that is required of a person to be admitted into the Ukrainian army is a law that have come to stand. It's not a bill in the National Assembly or in the Parliament. It's a law that have already been established. The law that have already been signed into law, or rather a bill that have already been signed into law. And the fundamentals is so clear. The enforcement have started. The Ukrainian government has started taking even people of young age to the military because they have a war to fight. You can't beat a child, you're asking not to cry. They have a war to fight. So it's a war, it's a fight to finish. It's a fight to finish. And when you look at it from 2022, when this war started in 2023, there was a high level of, armed forces, a high level of armed men. But as the war progresses, they've drastically reduced. But I want to be a bit differ. We're actually pointing our attention on that of Ukraine. What about the Russia? I mean, the Russian government and military state have also lost a lot of persons. Not just in the side of the Ukraine at all. They have also lost. So to me, it's a two-sided war. A two-sided war. But I think what the Ukrainian government is doing is to able to get more hands. It's to able to get more people into the force. They have a battle to finish because the war seems to be silent. The United Nations, the international organization, and what are you? They seem to be very silent in this Russia-Ukraine war. There have not been any interference. There have not been any collective interference, so to speak. U.S. have been the one supporting Ukraine, indirectly. Russia have also had that kind of support. But the United Nations, the international organizations, I will keep on calling on them, have not actually come to a round table diplomatically to see how to resolve this issue between the Russia and Ukraine. So if you see Ukraine are taking their lives into their hand, nobody should blame them. Nobody should blame them. Yes, I understand the fact that there seems to be some economic crisis because of the war. The Ukrainian government and the people seem to suffer more. But be that as it may, the war seems not to be ending any moment from now. It will also be cowardice for them to surrender at this time, because they have not passed that list. So it is not possible. For me, what the Ukrainian governments are doing, recruiting even underage to the military, is what I feel any other person can do if you do not have a choice. So I think we shouldn't blame them much. It's just because they have no choice.
They have no choice. Honorable, you said they don't have a choice in this matter. They have a war to prosecute. Everyone's hands must be on deck.
There's nothing unfortunate in what Zelensky has done. And there's no need to pity them. Age 27 brought to 25. There's little or no difference. They just took a census and observed that about 500,000 of Ukrainians have died over these 2 years. And
there's over 500,000 persons have died.
It's not like a war. Then about 31,000 of their soldiers have died in action. It's expected. There can't be a war and everybody's dying. There's not a war. Then for them to not agree from 27 to 25, there's no cause for alarm, and there's no need to pity them. In 1947 to 1949, UK dropped that age to 18 years. So why don't you complain about UK? As we speak, right in January some months ago, the Russian government brought theirs to 18. So they're not underaged. So how can 25 be an underage person? If you're going to report as a journalist, let's say someone of 25 years committed a crime, say a man, it's a man, it's not underage. Underage shows to us maybe they are teenagers or even toddlers, these are underage people. So there's no alarm here, I'm saying. It's just for them to realize that the battle is getting more fierce and they are losing their men. To move from 27 to 25, there's only 2 ways on their back. If UK could reduce to 18, in January this year, Russia reduced to 18, between 18 and 30. So 25 is not an age to say they were underaged. 25 is man enough to decide for himself. And now you are fighting for your country, and it's not, the word there is a military term, conscription. So you have no choice. Except maybe if that happened in Nigeria, you would have seen a lineup of people along Sapler Road, opposite the High Court, swearing to an affidavit. I was husband yesterday. Is that I'm even surprised I could even speak. But they understand nationalism. It's a level of understanding of your nationalism that leads to patriotism. So we are just crying on their behalf for nothing. They understand what is going on. And as you said earlier, this is not time to talk about surrendering. Maybe they borrowed our language here, all die and I die. So let's go in 27 to 25, there's not much difference. Because they have a number of soldiers they want to recruit into the army, and they know the population statistics, and they already agreed 27 to 25. By that 2-age difference, we have enough manpower to replenish what they've lost. And also just it.
All right, you heard them. Instead of to pity them, they are doing the right. And after all, during the World War, UK reduced the age of conscription to 18. It wasn't the same. Now, what do you have to say about this? You share his own views or their views?
To some extent, I share his view that because it is a national call, and when it is a national call, bearing in mind that in those parts of the world, their government is very proactive when it comes to the issues of the people. The government is there for them. The government will remember those fallen heroes, as it were, quite unlike what you find in this part of the world. The government will know that these who came from a particular home and why they were fighting, and they died in the cause of protecting their country. And their families, in terms of their parents, those who are married, their wives and their children will absolutely be compensated or taken care of, because they will be recognized as heroes who actually fought for the unity, for the freedom, and for the oneness of their nation. But again, just as my brother here has said earlier, that the international community has failed to intervene, as it were. That is another question.
But they've been intervening, giving weapons. What does he want them to do?
You see, the issue of giving weapons is to, aggravate the already aggravated issues, as it were. Is there no way these parties can be called to a roundtable conference and issues are addressed? Just as day in, day out, people are calling on Israel to stop the bombardment of Gaza. I have not seen that in terms of Russia and Ukraine. Silently, everybody is watching the whole thing degenerating day in, day out. The Financial Times said that in Ukraine, you have between 11.1 million of them are between the age of that 25 to 60 years of age. And those who are eligible within that age, by the time you do your calculation and subtraction, you have just 3.7 million of them. And among that 3.7 million of them, you have those who have health challenges or have problems. So generally, you don't have more than 1 million. You don't have more than 1 million young men who would have been early. But the question then now is, at the end of this war, what now happens to these people? A lot of persons who would have been useful for the growth and development of the nation must have died while trying to protect their nation. So I accepted that they have to fight to ensure that the nation becomes one. But again, the question then is, at this point in time, the youth who would have been there to build the nation, as it were, are being killed every day. And it is a sad situation because Zelensky is looking at it from the angle. The pressure is on him, quite unlike when it was initially. The enthusiasm is no longer there. A lot of persons are wounded. A lot of persons have lost interest. A lot of persons are even relocating, as it were. Because you know fully well that if I remain, definitely I will be conscripted into the military to come and fight. A lot of persons are taking exemption because somebody somewhere will take bribe and give you an exemption that, oh, you have a health challenge or you have physical disability even when you are not physically disabled. That, you know, making the... So it's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. Now, he talked about the bribery allegation scandal. So people will just go back on the chiefs and say, look, we don't want to partake in this war, give one or two excuses for us to be exempted. That's what is happening. Zelensky got so, and because he got away from this situation and story, he got some of them fired. Now, do you think that Ukrainians are happy with this? Because of what Honorable said, he said they know the meaning of patriotism. If they know patriotism, how come some are going behind the door to say, look, don't conscript my son, don't conscript my daughter, here, take, exempt them. Take it up from there.
Well, it is the situation that the government have also found themselves. Even before now, before the issue of the allegations of corruption and all start coming into the military system of the Ukraine, people were willing. There was self-willingness. There was no compromise at all. But I think that compromise started when, just the way he said that the U.S. supported with ammunitions. Yeah, there was supported with ammunition, but there was no manpower. You give somebody a gun and you didn't teach the person how to use the gun. And you said that you have empowered such person. I mean, it's as good as not doing anything at all. So by the time those weapons were supplied, and there was no manpower to manage it, there was no manpower to teach them how to use it, all of that. So they began to lose more men of the war. So people had to withdraw back. The issue of the corruption had to creep in. You know, people had to start bribing military directorates and all of that, you know, to remove their children from the military. Those that were there were almost resigning. If as a matter of fact, some people resigned, they were sacked. I read the other day, some of those who resigned want to even be trying a court martial. They want to be court martial and what have you. So it is the situation that the government have find themselves. So it is not left for the citizen to be at the forefront of the war, whether dead or alive, and defend the integrity, the sovereignty of the country, which they belong to, which they claim to be citizen of. So it's not a big deal at all. It's not a big deal at all. So, but I think that the Ukrainian government need to sit down. They need to, restructuralize the military system and see what to do. That's what Frank Amigo said. That there's no more difference between 25 to 27. What we have is just a little time. So I think that the government still have a lot to do in order to put and set the war right.
All right, so the government has a lot to do that to really make sure that they advance at least to deliver Ukraine from the hands of Russia. But right now, there is a worry in Zaporozhye about the atomic plant there. That there is a bomb or two, and want both parties to cease hostilities. We'll dive into that. If this may just lead to nuclear holocaust, you never can tell. You never just can tell. Honorable, straight to you. Bridging the age is like, pushing the youth to war. And like what is rightly said, the youth, so to speak, they are the foundation of any nation. And right now you're pushing them down to the grinder, so to speak, because you have to really save your country. Is that a smart move? And if this doesn't work, do you see them bringing down to 18, 17, or 15, as the case may be?
Yes, rhetorically, I will ask you again that is it the elderly that you're asking the president to push to war? One would expect able-bodied men to do the work. And these are the able-bodied men. So I'm not of the opinion that 25 should be pitied. And it will never get to...
That's what they don't want to fight.
Well, we are thinking so on their behalf.
But it's there, it's clear, they don't want to fight.
Yes. Just that there was no time I would have hammered on enthusiasm. We are saying enthusiasm as civilians. Once you wear that camouflage, the enthusiasm comes. So let's not pity them along that line. Once you wear the uniform and you know what the game is about, the enthusiasm comes from everywhere. So the age 25 and the fear that a time will now come in the land of Ukraine that there will be no youth anymore, that can't be true. Because young will always grow. At age 25, it's not a forest. Maybe you have deforested everywhere, so no more trees. Babies born yesterday, today they'll not be 0 age, they'll be 1 day old. So 25 years will just come and go. So what the country is doing now is to protect their lives, generally their lives, for a better place to live in. So if you're not hands off now by way of surrendering, Russia will take over. And we know what it means to now in this modern civilized world to not be brought into slavery. So it's better they fight to the last day than to expose themselves into slavery. If some other nations are not helping out now, as we are complaining, is it when they not get into slavery, they not come and rescue them? The problem about US supplying them arms and ammunition is not about the capacity to operate. They have the capacity. As a military officer, even in Nigeria, they are taken abroad for further training. So there are people trained in armaments. They can handle any form of weapons. There are people, there are a set of soldiers trained, the infantry and all that. So there is no fear. But the only fear I have is the number of persons to manage. Not that they don't have the capacity, they have the capacity, but they have a large number of persons to man these facilities given to them by US. And I also tell you that various interventions have been in, apart from US supplying, even Israel supplying. But UN has made a lot of efforts, though not much results have come out of it. Because of the nature of the Russian president, that is adamant, listening to the voice of reasoning, is bent on crushing the whole of Ukraine. One, God will not allow that. And so,
he never said the whole of it. They said Donbass region. That's what he wants.
That's the beginning.
Leave the Donbass region. That's what he said. Their armies to surrender and go back home. There'll be no war.
Do you know if you cut off the tail of an animal, the animal will not die? So it's just a part that I needed. But if the person insists, just a part that I need, one part they say the head. There is no animal whose head is cut off that survives. So what the Russian government wants is the head of Ukraine. And they are saying no. If it's just that little part they want to take it and go away, now that there will have no more. So we want the head of Ukraine, as it were now, to be taken off. There is no sane government that will allow it. Nigeria had it in Bakassi Peninsula. Take Bakassi away, Nigeria is still Nigeria. That's why they allowed it. But now come back to say Cameroon wants to take over Niger Delta. That's the head of Nigeria. No country will allow it. So that's the base of the war. So the Russian government is insincere. The Russian government is dealing with the Ukrainians with impunity. They don't care. So I'm of the view that what Zelensky is doing, it should be encouraged. Maybe a time will come. Let's move from 27 to 25. Maybe with time to 24. Even with that, some countries are using 18. So let's be systematic about it. And that's what I think the Ukrainian president is doing. Sort of flooding the old war front with all the Ukrainians that may not survive. Let's go in this manner, batch by batch.
All right. Now, someone said, I'm going to say this on time. They've gotten enough time to train them. That these are just fresh meat for the grinder. They don't have military experience. It's unlike Israel that be like, once you are 18, you must go for conscription. You have to train. They don't have the training. They know how to operate, don't know tactics, don't know what it means to really go there in front of heat, take battle, in front of artillery bombardment. They know nothing about it. Is that to the advantage of Ukrainians, Barrister?
Well, it is not to the advantage, because a novice is a novice, somebody who has no knowledge. It's not like a man coming to, a teacher coming to a classroom to take a topic, and he has little or no idea of the topic. He will now begin to ask questions from the students. From the students, he will now begin to pick. At the end of the day, he will not be able to give a comprehensive analysis of what actually he wanted to impact on the children. It's the same thing in the situation we have found ourselves. You are picking people from the streets. Many of them were picked from the street. Many of them were forced into it. Reluctantly, they agreed, put on uniform, given a gun. But the question there is, does the person, because first of all, you must be able to have what we call the zeal, the enthusiasm, the will, the readiness to say, I want to do this. You see, sometimes you will find out that some persons are in a place where you give your best when it is a thing I want to do. I have chosen to become a soldier. Definitely, I'm going to give my best. You will find me very active. You will find me very willing. I will take commands from the commander. I will listen to whatever the commander wants to say that we need to do already. Or before now, I must have having some ideas, either through reading, through watching television, or listening to people discuss. But you find that these people who are conscripted into the military are people who, they have lost it completely. They are not willing to be part of it. Some who find every single avenue for them to live. So they are giving their best is going to be difficult. The casualties will be more, quite unlike when they have the opportunity of being trained. It's just like when the National Youth Service in Nigeria is compulsory for every graduate to go. You find out, like the time I did mine in 1991 precise, we had the opportunity of military training. All the drills, we had it. At a day, we were first set of NYC in Osun State. We had all the drills. Initially, some persons, that first 2-3 days, some people were sick and all what. But with time, we were able to build on it. Right? So you find a situation, though we are not asked to carry the arms, but we all had all those tug of war, passing under the tunnel, climbing the rope, doing a lot of things. In those days too, you find out that in areas where you have the Boy Scout, I had the opportunity. I was a member of the 3rd Iseluku troop then at the seminary. You find out that you have some kind of military training that are given. But in a situation of these people, as you find it, they don't have such. These are people who are forced to come and fight war. These are people who are forced to come and ensure that the integrity and the oneness of their nation is, kept. Though they want to do it, but the question there is that you have a lot of casualties. So many of them will definitely lose their lives because they are not willing, they are not ready, they do not have that capacity to do that which is needed.
All right, someone is saying that this situation right now is like them to just come and die. That's what they're saying right now. Just come, die. Because they don't know Jack. For them to start crying when they're being conscripted, because someone said that this is a forceful conscription. They don't do it with their hearts of heart. You see some of them crying, but see, you have to move. Exactly. Glory to Mother Ukraine. Glory to Ukraine. Just move. I mean, Barrister, this is just a huge casualty for the Ukrainians.
No, that is a fact.
What do you expect the government to do? I mean, when the government was cruising and all, the citizens also enjoy it. There's what about letting allegiance to one's country.
Yes.
It's all about integrity. It's all about trust. It's all about enthusiasm. The people are benefited from their government over time. And now that the government is in a bad shape, which affect everybody, they also need to also do the needful. I mean, you can't use that to compare Nigeria. I understand the father who were to be Nigeria, people should have been sorry affidavit to even know their age to say they are not going for they are not even Nigeria and what have you. But this is a country over time that has been one of the best countries in of Europe in terms of economic stability and what have you. On the note that the country is also a delay, the people also need to be at the front for to defend their country. Over time, try to imagine, assuming this was America, but we have people who are willing to be in the front row of this war, who are ready to lay down their life to see that their country external and integrity is being protected, to see that the sovereignty of the nation is being codified. So I feel that the government have no choice than to run back to the people, because it's the people that make up the government. So the complaint is not a genuine complaint at all. It's not a genuine complaint. If an average, no, which is if an average training. You said you go to the war front. You asked to pick up again. You don't know jack about the military. How did that it was 25? Yes. They might be trained already. Yes.
No previous training. Oh, we are shorting manpower. Crack it and shoot.
Where is the time to even train the people? That's what we are saying. Are you going to train at the front of the war?
This war has been done for 2 years. 2 years.
By the time they start practicing, they become perfect.
In the war front?
In the war front. In the war front, because the situation on ground now,
yes,
that even their military school could not even have that time to even train them. The whole place is deserted. There is stress everywhere. The government cannot even run, the government official cannot run a government that is settled 24 hours.
Why not give up?
And you are telling them that there should be time for training. Where do they get that training from? Where will they even get the time to do it? We see there's war in Benin and there's war in Nigeria, there's war in Edo. Are you even aware that you cannot even broadcast such war? Because if the war extends to where you are, your jurisdiction will look on there, can you sit on the studio to broadcast such war?
Okay, fine.
So the whole country is sitting on the gunpowder, and the citizens need to wake up. They need to learn fast, they need to learn over time, and they need to fight the war, because an average in Nigeria will not come and fight the war for Ukraine.
Okay, fine. The Pope gave a solution because the Pope saw devastation. He got the report. Look, you guys, stop this thing. Let's go to negotiation. Let's raise the white flag. And now you're saying this fresh meat, they should go to the grind? Fresh meat for the grinders? Because if you talk about what you have what they call tactics, you have what they call operation of these weapons.
Strategy.
You have what they call strategy. And you are pushing someone that doesn't even have the zeal. Or because of glory to Ukraine. Honorable.
The willingness to do
I'm
it.
not aware first that you have some clients there. You want to defend.
No, not really, but I have had the opportunity. I had the opportunity.
That we say was part of those they have conscripted. I'm not aware.
Exactly.
What I'm aware of, for a nation to take a decision, there will be some dynamics, mechanics behind it that at age 25, there are some details over there we may not be privy to. So they didn't just say on the street, pack them, let's go. No, there's nothing like that.
And that's what I'm doing right now.
There's nothing like that.
That is what they're doing right now. That's what they're doing right now. Whether you like it or not, you have to be there. Glory to Ukraine, you have to do it, and they're complaining about it.
We'll do a battle quiz. Battle quiz, which is germane to this. Between Israel and the Philistines, Goliath was out. If you can provide a man that can fight me the next 40 days, all the war veterans withdrew. The question that the king then Saul asked, who can kill Goliath? That's a question before Ukrainians now. Who can help us fight and win this war? Then a David arose. Okay. And there's a David in this category now.
And who is David?
You will soon know. It's not about
after 2 years.
Training. Yeah. David at that time was not a youth. Otherwise would have been part of that army. He was less than a youth by age. So it's not about the stars you're having. Who can kill Goliath? So I'm sure they sat down closely to work it out. They did it divide the S to know that to fight and survive in this war, we need that 25. I'm sure after now, once this war has subsided, something would have happened that the figure 25 will not be printed on t-shirts.
Figure 25.
T-shirt 25. So
right.
let's allow the Ukrainian government to do what they know best. So for them to get to the age of 25, they don't just wake up, they toss the coin, head or tail, 25. No. A lot of calculations, extrapolations would have gone through.
Honorable, some are saying that this is not a case of calculation or extrapolation, that this is a case of desperation.
Desperation.
They need to survive.
Desperation.
Survival strategies is to bring in 25 and above.
And that's desperation.
Desperation.
Desperation to win.
Wow.
Desperate to lose.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. All right. Desperation. This is what Russians did, and they didn't give a hoot, and they did something. They were accused of using human shield because they want to win a particular city or enclave, and it worked for them. According to what they did was like, shoot, move forward, march forward. Wherever the bombardment of Ukraine is coming from, to target that place. For what they accuse us of is using the hostilities as target practice.
Target practice.
Is that what Ukraine want to do right now?
I'm not looking at it completely from that angle, but I'm only looking at the angle of those who are being conscripted. The issue there is, when the age is not a question. What is important is the willingness. What is important is that I have been conscripted because I want to join the military. I want to fight for the unity and oneness of my nation. Not that somebody is forcing me to come and become an officer. You find out that these young men are being conscripted randomly. Even those you saw the viral video, people are working on the street, they will tell you and say, enter. Those who initially were given an exemption because of health condition or disability as it was, they are not being dragged into it. They are being dragged into it. The question then now is, why this desperation? Is it because they want to sustain the war? Is it because at this point in time, the numbers are depleting? And that is the simple fact. And that was why in December you had the results we were talking about, at least 500,000. But again, look at the number of men. 11.1 million. The ones that are within the age of 25 to 60, 3.7. The ones that are eligible, removing disability and every other thing, just roughly 1 million. And you need 500,000 from it. And at the end of the day, what are we not talking about? What we're saying is that at this point in time, if these young men have been trained, even if it is 1 week, 2 weeks, or whatever, it would have been an easier thing. But picking somebody from nowhere, asking person to carry gun, go to war. War is not a football practice match. Where
Even soldiers of soldiers, they are scared.
They are scared. It's not like a practice football match that you can just come in, you throw, everybody will not begin to play. This is, you have to strategize. You must have the capacity. You must be trained. You must be able to carry the arms, because a lot of the arms are the ones you need to carry. There are some you have to operate, like machines and all that.
Right.
So how will somebody who do not have such knowledge be able to do it? That is the issue.
Over to you, Barrister Gabriel. Do you think that you should follow Pope Francis' advice? Raise this white flag. Let's talk. Let this thing end.
That is it. And the question is, who is to raise white flag?
That's because to raise the flag, what's the white flag? Because according to raising white flag means we are surrounded. Report, they are the ones hosting this war. The theater of war is in Ukraine. They are the ones worst hit. They are the ones losing. Why not just raise this white flag?
Raising the white flag, the Ukraine raising the white flag shows that they're surrounded. Shows that they're not interested in the war, shows that they are begging, shows that they are going on their knee, shows that they're not ready for diplomatic talk. It's not raising the white flag. What about the part of Pluto? Yes. What about his own side? Is he ready to dialogue? Is he ready to do the needful? Is he ready to listen to the voice of wisdom and that of the international leaders? Over time, our international leaders don't go together to say, oh, talk to him. He has not listened. So you telling Ukraine at this time to raise a white flag is as good as mercy after death. For me, I think they want to defend their nation. The way they have already been, they should do it to the last. Let it be on history that they fear to the last. The beginning must say, "Man, I book their night." One man say, "Man, now this is a problem." No, don't need to interpret that. That's terrible. That's really parables. You know, it is better that this is where a man was killed than this is where he ran into the bush. So I think that's what they are trying to do. So allow the Ukrainians to do what they needed to do and let them fight their war.
You're going to have the last round of the discussion, Honorable. He said it's better for you to fight and die rather than fight to run to fight another day. That's what they just said it directly.
But he just begged you now, say, allow the Ukrainians to fight their war.
war.
Are you begging him or are you begging him? So they have their strategies. They know what they want to gain by reducing 27 to 25. There's a strategy. So let's see as to how all this will pan out before we judge them. All those we have said conscripted now, are you going to tell me or the whole world that they won't train them? Are they not trainees?
How long do they have to train them?
Wait,
they're in the middle of the war already. Someone say, take gun, take up and go to that bunker.
You are giving a uniform.
A uniform and rifle.
there's a program you do on INT'L radio.
Yes.
Do it yourself. Is it a 5-year program?
2 days.
2 days program. Are they not going to continue?
Honorable,
Are they not continue?
this is what we are talking about.
So allow them. They know what to do.
Exactly.
For them to agree, let's conscript. They knew the implications.
And people have been
And
forced to
they
be
know where to place
conscripted.
these new entrants. They know where to place them. They know where to place them.
All right. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. Our time is up because right now the war in Ukraine is raging, and they've reduced the conscription age from 27 to 25. People are saying that this is like a call of desperation that might go below that. The question now is, would it be a smart move for them to fight to deplete their energy, which is the youth? Would it be a smart move for them to obey what the Pope said, raise the white flag, let's negotiate? Or is it going to be fight to finish? We are watching. I'll just report back to you. Gentlemen, thank you once more for coming on today's edition of International Forum. I appreciate all of you. Let's see if Zelensky and Putin will go to meet one of these days to say, okay, fine, enough is enough. After all the bars and bows, let's look for a way forward. After all, they are all intertwined, they are all related. Russia, Ukraine, Russia, almost one and the same people. Bye for now.